So without further ado, I am going to start with our first speaker, which I am excited to introduce all the way from my home state of Ohio, is Jerry Csaki from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Jerry, let me unmute you. Hold on one second. Oh, there we go. All right, welcome, Jerry.
Well, thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, let me say good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerry Csaki. I'm the Director of Youth and Education here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And obviously, I am from our studio right now, so we're able, even though our building shut down, the museum is shut down, we are coming in periodically. I'm working from my house right now 90% of the time. I've got two boys at home, 3rd and 6th graders, so I'm full-time worker slash teacher in the classroom right now, and a whole bunch of other things. But we just want to welcome you guys to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're going to go over quickly just a little bit about what we do and how we've transitioned during this time. And as Karen already outlined, how do you decide what content to share and how is it similar or different from pre-COVID to today? It's really challenged us to start thinking about other ways to connect with people. And it's something that now that we've done this, is that we're like, man, this would be a great idea during the summers or when schools are out, or maybe on the weekends or holiday, whatever it might be, more opportunities for us to connect out to young people. And so what I want to just do is just share with you real quick who we are and what it is we do. The mission of the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. And that's when we get excited, especially those last two components as a youth education department, is how we promote the values of the game, what it teaches about life, how it teaches about overcoming obstacles, and how we celebrate excellence. And so as far as the youth education department, there's so many different ways we connect out, whether it's traditional field trips. We're a content provider, just like a museum, just like any other museum across the country. We preserve and educate history. So we have students that come here. We connect out through video conferencing. We've been doing video conferencing probably since 2003. I think I've been here for 20 years now at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I helped launch the video conferencing programs back in 2003. We've transitioned from the hardware base to the software base now. We jumped on the Zoom bandwagon probably in 14, way before they became a household name like they are today. So what I want to talk to you guys and just show you guys, I'm going to share my screen here. And I think I have an ability to do that right now. I think Karen has given me that ability to do that. And if not, I will find out. Karen, do you see my screen right now?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So just to show you guys where we're at, obviously the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Northeast Ohio, Canton, Ohio. But just to show you guys, here's our traditional video conferencing programs. And these are designed to be 50 to 60-minute interactions. We're connected in, what we refer to as a point-to-point connection, where it's us with a classroom and a teacher that connects us into the classroom so we can interact with their 20, 30, 40, 50 kids, sometimes in a whole auditorium of kids, but they have one direct connection into us so we can see and hear them and they can see and hear us. And so this goes through that, those particular details. But as we click on the available programs, you can see that these are all the different programs we have. We use football to teach math, science, social studies, language arts, careers, character, all those kind of things. And so we do those, and we have a wide variety of programs. But obviously today what we're talking about is how we've adjusted those programs, especially our video conferencing programs, how we've adjusted those. And there's a couple different ways. And one that I'm not really going to focus too much on is what we've done is now we've shifted to webinars, since Zoom has a webinar platform. And we're connecting to kids at their houses where they can actually mute and unmute their microphones. Today, you guys are being responsible in muting your microphones, but obviously kids at home, we can't do that. So we have to bring them in as a webinar where they have no option to use audio or video. And that's the great thing about Zoom platform and some other platforms as well, is that you can send them out a webinar link where they can just see and hear me. I don't have to worry about muting and unmuting their microphones. And so we're reaching out to their teachers. We have about 170,000 educators on the newsletter. We're doing weekly programs, almost daily programs, these different programs. But today, what we're really here to focus on for the next just few minutes is really how we've kind of taken this and made this just kind of an on-demand thing that's on our YouTube channel. And how we adjusted that and adapted that to what we're doing. And so basically what you'll see here is what I have here. This is one of the presentations we do. Now we have a wide variety of programs, but one of those programs we do is called Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. And so for some reason, I just had a hunch, and Karen had a hunch that maybe some of you know who Walter Payton is. And so obviously in 1999, when he had passed away, the NFL decided to rename the Man of the Year award because of his community involvement, because of his love for children, to rename that award the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, which honors those players that give back to the community. So it's a program we do about giving back to the community and things like that. And so there's a number of different programs. There's 6 different programs we chose. Of our most popular programs, we chose to take and really boil them down to just a 15 to 20 minute video. It's non-interactive. It's pretty much me just talking for 20 minutes and sharing content and using different platforms, bringing in, and I can show you that some of those things here today. So what this is that 50 minute interaction that we do with students. It's just me recording the same type of program, skipping over things, trying to condense that down to a 20-minute version of that. And let me just show you a few snippets of that. Annual Hall of Fame game is played, the enshrinement ceremony, all those things that take place for 16,726 yards, 125 total TDs, 7-time All-Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler, 77 games of 100-plus rushing yards. But he was more than just a player on the field. He was more than that because he was what he was off the field. And let's look at this video.
You know what my wife said?
What'd she say?
Your mama and them raised you right.
And so what you'll see is just, there's a bunch of different video platforms we have coming in. We introduced Walter Payton, then J.J. Watt, who won it in 2017, about what he did in the Houston area to raise almost $50 million to help people when the Hurricane Harvey hit. And then we close out, talking about those things. So I'll just close at the end here. In our communities, and not even better than doing something great like winning a Super Bowl. And as much as I love that, and I love the bronze bust here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, those things are secondary compared to what you can do doing good in your community. And you don't have to be a Hall of Famer. It can be right now. If you're in 5th grade, if you're in 8th grade, if you're in high school, whatever age, you can serve your community right now. You can. And so that's just a snippet of that. And so basically the way we were able to do this, and we didn't, we're a nonprofit. We don't have a production team. And we do have a production team, but not to cover, let's say little productions like this. And so basically I'm on now. I've got a little bit of a higher production quality here because I do have a $2,000 PTZ camera, which is USB based, that plugs in, allows us to do broadcasting from our Mac Mini here. I do have a Yeti microphone, so the audio is probably a higher quality as well but you don't really need that. I mean, pretty much what I did was opened up a Zoom conference on our own license, hit the record button, and went through it for 20 minutes and kind of highlighted those things that I thought were the most important to kind of condense that down into that. And then what we did was we are streaming these programs live on our Facebook page every Friday. It's also housed on our Youth and Education YouTube channel. And then we're promoting these out periodically through our almost 170,000 newsletter that we have to give teachers just different resources and things to use while their kids in the classroom. And so, and that's really challenged us because we've never done recordings like this for students. I mean, we do it for fans and for all kinds of different social media platforms as our digital media team here for a number of different areas that we do recordings and things like that. But as a youth education department, to directly connect into classrooms or connect into students at their houses, it's really challenged us. And it's got me thinking now, because we've had such a great response on these and views and some of the metrics that you can measure as far as social media and other things, is that this is something we can continue as the kids do come back to school, but things we can do for after school program, summer program, and all kinds of things. And so just look at your tips for creating a virtual program. What's your objective? Be flexible, create short, high impact things, be organized, be consistent, have proper lighting, make sure you're not in a dark room, try to get a good microphone if you can. It makes a difference. Looking directly in the camera, which I'm terrible at, I'll be honest. I've been doing video conference broadcasts for 15 years. I'm still terrible at looking at the camera. But those are the kind of things that you can do. And so with that being said, I've thrown a lot at you in a little bit of time. I know we have 2 other outstanding presenters here today to talk about what they do and how they've adjusted during this time. So Karen, I'll kick things back to you.
All right, thank you. That was fabulous. Really appreciate you sharing, and it's good to see home, even if it's virtual. So I'm gonna let folks type in their questions. Take a minute. If you have an idea or question or comment, go ahead and type it into the chat box to make sure we collect those. And we have a couple people on the phone, so I will invite, let's see here. I think we have someone on the phone. Scout, I think you're on the phone. If you have a question, I will open that up to you since you cannot chat. Anyone else on the phone? All right. All right, as you're typing, I'm gonna get us started for the next person. Up next is Roni Chamberlain, a teaching artist with the Chicago Opera Theater. So Roni is gonna talk about how Chicago Opera Theater went from in-school residencies to a 5-minute pre-recorded video. And I have to say, I have seen these videos and I feel like I've learned a lot about opera. So let me share my screen here with you all. And Roni, if you want to join us.
Oh,
wonderful.
Okay. Hey, everyone. How's it going?
All right.
Awesome. Thank you. So as I said before, my name is Veronica Roni Chamberlain. Thank you to Karen. Thank you to Jerry and to everyone for being here today. Chicago Opera Theater's mission believes that the future resides in giving students the opportunity to experience opera as their art form. So really, we like to think of it as opera is a living art form that we continue to create. It's not this old stuffy thing that used to exist that kids today, we're helping them create their own operas. I'm gonna see if I can pull up my screen for you. Let's see. Appreciate your patience with me. Okay, so here we go. So like I said, my name is Veronica Chamberlain, Roni Chamberlain from Chicago Opera Theater. I am here speaking on behalf of our entire education department at COT. So for us, that means Lyndon Hubner, our Director of Education, Tracy Keisner, our Education Assistant, and then myself and Taylor Walters Chapman are our full-time teaching artists. So tell you a little bit about first what our education department is like to begin with, and then kind of what we've done in this new time. One of our main programs is called Opera for All. Opera for All serves Chicago Public School students, typically 3rd through 5th graders, and it's a year-long program. So these are programs that we had started in September, October of this year, and that are about 31 weeks long that would continue through the year. Chicago Opera Theater for Teens, which for us only functions over the summer now, so that's a program that runs through After School Matters. Obviously something that we're gearing up, getting ready to hopefully start in the summer. And then we're also trying to create education content that we can give to our COT patrons and community. So it doesn't just have to be students in CPS, it can be anyone in Chicago or not that is interacting with our COT content. So as far as Opera for All, like I said, is a year-long program, which we obviously did not get to finish. The really interesting thing about that program is that it's all about the process. It's all about getting the kids to create their own opera together in class. Obviously, a lot of that stuff is really difficult to do when we're not actually physically in the classroom with students. So what we wanted to do is empower all of our classes with all of the materials that we had created so far together that year so that they can continue working on that stuff as individuals at home if they so choose. So some of those things include scripts that we wrote together, all of the music that we composed together. So that means sheet music, accompaniment tracks, vocal demos, lyric sheets, dance videos of dances that we'd begun to teach that we created with the South Chicago Dance Theater. And they were also given our resources from the Opera at Home website, which I'll get to in a second. So the purpose of our Opera for All virtual classrooms was just to essentially continue the education and the programs that we didn't get to finish. Then in addition, our opera company, Chicago Opera Theater, obviously is it's a professional opera company that does its own professional productions, but they have actually created an entire portion of the website specifically as this virtual classroom, this opera at home resource, so that students in or out of our opera programs can interact with content. And some of that, majority of that is totally new. It was not content that was shared in our in-person programming. So some of the videos and things that we have shared in our opera at home page include a little video you'll see later, which is a how to conduct video. It kind of reviews on some of the information kids would have learned in Opera for All, but then kind of builds upon that knowledge to give them more personal skills. A proper posture video, a vocal warm-up video. A colleague of mine, Taylor Walters Chapman, created an Opera for All Jeopardy game. So it's actually an interactive trivia game that kids can use to learn more about opera trivia and opera vocab. It's some of the stuff we also taught during our Opera for All year. She also makes these Composer of the Week videos that feature a different composer that have been really interesting. I highly suggest looking at those. Weston Williams, another one of our teaching artists, made a really cool video about classical music riots and different things in music history that are especially interesting. We've also shared classroom yoga and other videos from another partner we have called Wellness for Everyone. Just they're a different partner. We did not make these videos. We're kind of sharing the content that they made for their kids as well. We decided to share this content because it's different than what we typically do in schools. Like I said before, our program is really process-based, and it's really, really hard to totally replicate that at home. It's not easy. What we do has so much to do with who's in the room, how we're talking to each other, how we're moving together, how we're dancing together. So we didn't want to create content that was exactly like that, because that's not possible. Instead, we decided to create things, like we said, that were shorter, that were little tiny chunks, easy to digest, that would help give kids music skills that they could help build at home instead of trying to replace our program, because we know that's not possible. So much of what we do is just being together. So that's, I think, the biggest difference between how it differs is we're trying to empower kids with skills and knowledge that they can practice, but we're not expecting it to look exactly like our other programming looks. We really made an intentional effort to address multiple learning styles through this virtual classroom. So since what we normally do in schools is so physical, it has to do with acting things out and moving and singing and dancing, we wanted to give students a chance to physically engage with our content. That's why a lot of our videos were these conducting videos, talking about posture, vocal warm-ups, dances, songs, etc. We wanted to give them a chance to physically engage with our stuff. Visual and oral learners have resources to engage with, like the history and biography videos. They're much like a lecture would be. We've empowered them with the Metropolitan Opera stream. So if they just want to watch opera or listen to opera, they have the ability to do that, as well as their recordings and sheet musics of their class songs. It helps them as well. Here's a little clip from one of the conducting videos I made. This is just a really rudimentary way to teach students how to conduct a 4 pattern. Here it is.
Hello, from Chicago Opera Theater's Opera for All program, this is Mrs. Chamberlain. Good morning. Today we are learning a flash course on how to conduct a 4 pattern. Just a reminder, a conductor is the musical leader. This is the person who should know the music better than anyone, and they're the person who is going to actually physically lead everyone in doing the music of an opera. First, I wanted to show you how to do a basic 4 pattern. So here's how it goes. You start by going down, then you'll bounce in, out, and up. So the 4 directions are down, which should be about at your waist, in towards your belly button, out, about the same level as your belly button, but now going the opposite direction, and then up. Let's review that. Down, in, out, up, down, in, out.
So I go on in the rest of that video to explain how they know when to use that type of pattern, practicing using it with different types of songs, and hopefully just getting kids to do it themselves.
Hello.
And our last one. Here are my final tips for you. I don't know about all of you, but I definitely I feel so confident talking to students when I, like face to face and being in front of a classroom, totally my comfort zone. Making videos and being on screen like this is totally out of my comfort zone. So I just want to say, we as educators may be uncomfortable making videos and this type of content, but our students might be very comfortable doing it. Some of them love making videos. They do it all the time. So even though we feel this hesitation to do it, I think it's important to do because a lot of our students are doing it anyway, and we want to give them a chance to connect with us in that way. Kind of continuing that thought, something we've been talking about is getting students a choice of how they engage, whether we're asking them to make a video response like this, for them to write something, for them to give them things to work on that aren't necessarily on a screen. Maybe it's something they can print out and work on when their parents are using the internet or computer. Maybe it's something they can save for later. We want to make sure that we're allowing students to choose the way they interact, but also making sure that we're not making all of our stuff a YouTube video, because what if kids don't have access to YouTube? Highly suggest using the video tips as provided by CASC, and Jerry also mentioned this as well. It has to do with light source and how you set up your laptop, all that stuff. It really helps. And then my last thing is self-assessment and grace. Obviously, it's important to as educators to assess ourselves constantly and say, how can we make this better? How can I do this better next time? And as I look at some of these videos I made a few weeks ago, I'm like, man, the lighting's bad. I'm talking really fast, all these things that I want to make better. And that's great. We're all getting better at video editing. We're all getting better at making, this virtual content. It's going to get better and better because we've never done it before. But I think we also need to give ourselves a little grace and know that we're encountering something we never have before. And it's okay to, if you're uncomfortable making a video, start with something that you all know how to teach something. So teach that. And if your video is kind of janky, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I guarantee the kids won't notice. We all just got to keep moving forward no matter what. And hopefully we'll be all back teaching in person sometime soon. So thank you all for listening. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer for you. Like I said, we're a big, like a 4 or 5 person team at COT, and yeah, we're excited to be part of it. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I am going to, the links are in the agenda, but I would ask Talia if you would not mind copying the link to the Opera at Home and sticking it in the chat, and the example Walter Payton link in the chat, just so people have it right in front of them in case the agenda isn't working for them. All right, so wonderful. Love both of these options. So we've had a full program cut in half. We've had the example of a 5-minute video, and now we are going to round it out with a program that was in person and is now online. And I want to just make this point that this is for the adults. As of right now, CPS has said, again, no live programming directly to youth, and we are going to honor that. Of course, this might change tomorrow, and so again, we're asking everyone to be flexible as we learn what CPS is requiring, not requiring, but as of right now, no live programming. However, adult to adult, we are assuming that that is okay. We have heard that that is allowed. So I'm gonna invite Gilda's Club to join us to talk about what was once in-person programming and is now live programming. Lindsay. Lindsay, are you ready to join us?
Yep.
There you are. Fabulous. Can you bring up your screen as you introduce us?
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lindsay Tynes, and there we So I am the program coordinator for hospital and school initiatives at Gilda's Club Chicago. My colleague, Ashley Carrasco, who is our Noogie Land and Child and Adolescent Program Coordinator, unfortunately was not able to join us last minute this afternoon. But for those who aren't familiar with what we do, we are a cancer support organization. So we are a place where men, women, children, and teens whose lives have been impacted by cancer, as well as their family member and friends, can feel they are part of a welcoming community of support. Our mission is to ensure that all people impacted by cancer are empowered by knowledge, strengthened by action, and sustained by community. We are kind of all over the place in Chicagoland area. So we have our main location, which is on Wells Street in the River North area. And then we are at multiple hospital sites within the Chicago area. So we are at Lurie Children's Hospital, which is the program that I coordinate, as well as Northwestern, Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn, Mount Sinai, Trinity, St. Mary's and Elizabeth, Swedish Covenant, and then also our school programming. So I run our school programming, which is any child that is diagnosed with cancer at Lurie Children's and the family is interested in a school reentry program wherever that child goes to school in Illinois, Northwest Indiana. I would go to the school and talk to the kids about, what it means to have cancer. We also do this programming for any kind of staff, any teachers, a parent that's been diagnosed with cancer, anybody that's really close to the child that's impacting a classroom, we do that as well. And I do that program. So just for our programming, we offer support groups, both weekly and monthly. We offer educational lectures. We offer mind-body activities. So, when all of this came down with COVID-19 and we were, trying to figure out what to get up and running first, we, prior to COVID-19, we were offering over 350 free activities per month. So, trying to get as much as we could up and running right away. So our first priority was to make sure that we got our support groups up and running. So we made sure we all met on that Friday, March 13th, that week that everything was kind of coming out. And we were previously using Zoom just for very briefly, really for meetings. None of our programming was via Zoom. We're using Zoom because it's HIPAA compliant. And we're also an affiliate of the Cancer Support Community. And so they were instrumental in helping us getting additional Zoom licenses very fast. So on that Friday, we already had support groups up and running on Zoom by the next day, by that Saturday, March 14th. And by Monday, we had 2 additional Zoom accounts in order to be running programming. We currently are functioning with 4 Zoom accounts and offering over 150 virtual programs, all of which are live right now. So that's including, weekly and monthly support groups. That's including anywhere from yoga to chair yoga to Tai Chi to Tai Chi Cha, to an organization we work with called Kids Kicking Cancer. We are doing a lot of things for adults and kids right now. So that was our priority, is what we could get up and running the fastest. And we're a staff of 16 full-time staff members and 5 part-time. And then we also have a lot of facilitators or contractors that we work with. So we really have extended it to everybody. Whatever anybody's willing to offer virtually, we have gone ahead and offered that virtually. And we're adding things every single week. One thing that we added that we didn't have pre-COVID-19 is something that we call Coffee with Gilda. So that is We offer it on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and it's been a 30-minute check-in where people maybe that aren't a part of a support group have been able to come and check in and just talk to other people and see how they're doing, so that they have some kind of, you know, face-to-face virtually interaction with people. So that's where our priority was in adding things. Is, you know, the first week was the support groups, and then by the second week we already had mind body activities going, and now, and also lectures. We are not offering nearly as many lectures as we used to, but we are offering things that that people are wanting to see, and that we have facilitators that are willing to lecture on. And now we are really taking suggestions from our participants, like what do they need, what do they want to see, and how can we, you know, go about doing that. And so I will share right now. Let me see. Just so you can get a look at what our calendar looks like. So this is our website and our virtual program calendar. And so each one of these can be clicked on and they can register right on our website. Now that's not new. That's something that we were doing pre-COVID-19. But now the fact that, you know, once they click on this link and register, now they get a link sent to them to join the Zoom meeting. And we have kind of a disclaimer on when it will be sent out to them, so that they're not, you know, sitting there waiting thinking it should be instant coming to them. But we are doing that. This is one activity that I think can be a little challenging to do virtually, is art. We have a really wonderful art therapist that we work with. Her name is Sophie, and she has done a really awesome job at doing art and making it about household items so that people can participate. And one thing that we're doing to help kind of enhance that is sending out instructions beforehand, sending links to YouTube videos that are something similar to what we're doing, so that they're really able to engage when we are meeting then on our Zoom meetings. So that has been really helpful. And then in terms of, you know, how to address, you know, multiple learning styles with videos, I think everything that, you know, Jerry and Roni had said about lighting and making sure that, you know, you can be seen, and making sure that you know, that you can be seen and that you can be heard, that those basics really go a long way. I think that something that's helped us is also promoting it on social media. So, you know, people that are facilitating, sorry, I can stop sharing this now. Let's see. So people that, you know, maybe don't know about us or things like that, we're getting the word out there on what we're doing on social media. So we're also, you know, we've also recorded promo videos. So, you know, the fact that you can record right on Zoom, some of us get on, we record a promo video on what we're offering to help get the word out there so that people understand, you know, what we're offering, which is, you know, really been helpful. And I'm trying to think if I missed anything that I wanted to talk about. And then in terms of, you know, with offering live things, a lot of our staff and facilitators kind of sometimes they do like a one-time run through where we'll get on Zoom with them, make sure that, you know, where they're standing or sitting can be easily seen and heard. I think, you know, a lot of times when you're using your computer, you think that the audio might be okay, but, you know, sometimes you might need to wear a headset or some headphones to help, you know, with some of that background noise can be really helpful. So those are my tips. And obviously, if anybody has any questions for me on our programs or anything we're offering virtually, I welcome that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lindsay. As of right now, to respond to the question in the box, yes, this chat has been recorded, and we will share just the speakers. As of right now, CPS is not allowing live conversations or interaction with students, live with parents, or the teachers. So, you know, given that Gilda's Club is doing live programming, was highlighting this for adult only. So this is not for students. So I'm gonna let folks type in any questions they have for Lindsay or any other lingering questions.